Hi, everyone. I'm just going to go live in one other area here. Hi, everyone. You're now, okay, cool. Hey, everybody. Here, we're just going to set ourselves up just one little second. Would you know where to go for the, now that I think about it?
Yep, it's on you.
Okay, cool.
Yay.
Yay. Okay, so then we can see if there's any comments and stuff like that. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to Seekers of Truth. And today, Jade and I, our main topic.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit morbid, but
Yeah. It's pretty good though.
It's pretty good. Yeah. It's about death and transformation. So first, before we begin, as we usually do, Jade will just kind of clear the space, and then we'll go forth from there.
Yay. Okay. I feel like you can breathe.
It's true. No, it's nice. Awesome. Thank you for that. Yeah, it was very much needed today. So we want to talk about, like I said, about the death and its transformations. And when we're talking about death, it's going to be not only physical death, but also we're going to talk about the ego death, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll get into that a little bit more. And I guess it's overcoming, the certain fears and not taking life for granted on that part. So there's like different types of little topics that we're going to talk about on that part.
Mm-hmm.
Which one shall we start with, actually, is the question.
Do you want to start with the ego death
The
first?
ego, I figured, yeah.
I was like, I feel like that's like, and we'll like trickle down from there type of thing.
For sure.
So I don't know what you know about ego death. This is kind of what I know.
Mhm.
Is it's very mainstream, like, and I see like a lot of people like talk about it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like something that was like real back in like high school and stuff. But now that I've kind of understood it a lot more and heard other people talk about it, I understand that it's not typically what people try to make it out to be, like on the internet and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And the way that I had it explained to me is that if you were to have an ego death, that would be you actually dying in this life and
Mhm.
going and becoming like a soul and stuff. Because an ego death can't happen because an ego is me and it is you. So yeah, you can have parts of yourself that like falls away, and you can have parts of yourself that has these revelations. But to assume that you have an ego death and now that you're this like all-knowing soul here in the physical is not entirely correct, because you're using your ego brain and what you think that is to then do it. You know what I mean? So then your ego, because your ego is like a really tricky thing. Your ego, by killing itself, which isn't actually, you can't kill yourself, but like, I mean, you can, but like, there's more to the energy of what that actually means.
Yeah.
It can't like kill itself, but like by killing itself, it like tries to humble itself. But by doing that, it gets like all of this like power from it in a way. You know what I mean? Like feeling good about it. So you're basically just boosting your ego up again.
Almost like a false sense of security in a lot of ways too, type thing, right?
Exactly.
Always going into that comfort zone or whatnot. That's what kind of ego likes to do, or likes to stay. So yeah, no, for me, it was mainly, I mean, there's no such thing as ego death. Ego is a part of you, so it has nothing to do with trying to eliminate it, or there's no such thing as that. You need it actually from time to time, but the needing is more like if you need to stand your ground, or if for whatever reason you actually do have to get into altercations, either it's a physical, verbal, I mean, is a little bit different, but it's like physical, that's part of the ego that's kicking in, right? So it's not eliminating any of it, and there's no such thing as death in that. What else did I learn about that? Yeah, it's like what I was saying too, is it's not you the ego is there, but it's not the primary part of you. So you have the two aspects of self, and so you make your the kindness, compassion, and all that type of stuff as your primary, and the secondary is the ego. Again, it's also not shoving your ego aside, because you're not listening to yourself too all at the same time, and that's not the point. So yeah, you reminded me of something that happened to me so long ago. I was again learning the practice of universal energy.
Yeah.
And I was living in my old place, and I was in the basement, and I was kind of like in that middle state, when you're asleep and still kind of awake.
Yeah, a little bit aware.
Yeah, and I remember I was just on the sofa, and I saw this shadow kind of coming down, like running down the stairs, and it came right up to me.
A little scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like, what the heck? But and it kind of like somewhat pinned me down, so I couldn't really move, and it was whispering something in my ear. And I remember at the time, I'm like, I didn't want to listen. I didn't want to listen because I was, I guess you can say, in fear that it was saying something in my subconscious part of me. So I was like trying not to, and anyways, at one point I just like got up, I woke up, and I was like, what the heck was that? And so I asked my coach at the time, and he made me realize that that was the part of me that I'm not listening to. That was my ego. So that it was almost like, it had to come to me to.
And that like opposite form to.
In the opposite form, yeah.
Oh,
pretty
wow.
much. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that kind of actually made sense. Because it wasn't like a malevolent, I didn't feel like it was a bad thing. It was just me fearing my own self, my other self type thing. So anyways, you reminded me of that. I totally completely forgot.
Wow. I got a little scared there. I just watched the movie Insidious, and I was just like thinking about that, and I was like, is that what?
No.
But I never seen it before. But that's like crazy. That's so crazy that you can like do that towards yourself. If you're not listening to yourself, it comes in like different forms. It really means that you can't really push anything to like aside. It's just gonna come back even stronger.
Yeah. No, for sure. Yeah. And so that's why afterwards, it helped me to kind of work on just work on that side of me. And I've never had anything like that again type thing. Not that I remember. If anything, I had it with other entities, I guess.
Yeah.
One more time that it really happened. It was pretty strong. But it was a bit of a test too at the same time. So I can explain that another time anyways. But yeah.
That's Oh, I was gonna ask something else about. Oh, did you ever figure out what it was trying to say to you? What you were trying to say to yourself?
Yeah, I know. No, actually, like I was in such a fearful state, I guess you can say, in those days that I didn't take the time to know what it was trying to say to me. At that point, I was just in a state of like accepting that I'll say she because I'm a she, but this other side of me was feeling neglected. So then it was a part of me, like I wasn't standing my ground, and all of these different types of things. I was shoving it aside or shoving it down so much. So that's what I was working on more so than remembering what it was that it said to me and stuff. Yeah, I don't think I remember or going in depth with it. I did other things instead. That helped me kind of grow from there. And
do you think you know it now then?
Well, I mean, with everything that I went through, I think, not that I think, I know that was kind of like my little push to really start the ball from rolling, I guess. I needed that push, I guess, in so many ways. And so it pushed me not only after like with the divorce and this and that, but it was the aspect of working on myself as much as possible before going through all of these different things. So it wouldn't, of course, it affects you no matter what. It's just I was able to handle it quite a bit better than maybe if I hadn't done, you know, the courses and whatnot too. So it, yeah, no, it pushed me in a good direction. It's not that it was bad. It was just a little bit of, I just didn't expect it to be so in my face.
Yeah, hear me now.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's
So yeah, that was my experience in that there. So there's no way of like I said, eliminating it.
Yeah.
It's just letting it be a part of you type thing. Just not making it the primary to control, because then afterwards, then we're talking about the comfort zone and all of those things, right? And comfort zone, you just really don't learn very much in that state. And then
It's
if
nice,
there
but-
are, yeah, it's nice, no, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I do agree. It's nice to kind of stay in there for a little bit, but you do have to continue challenging yourself and stuff. So, and it doesn't become a challenge; it becomes exciting actually after a while.
Right?
Yeah. Like, to me, it's really hard for me to fathom that, especially when I was in high school and stuff, and they're like, okay, choose your career. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. That crisis you get, you're like,
Choose my career. Yeah, I know. Does it have to be one?
Or even they would add that at the end and they're like, yeah, this is the career you're going to have for the rest of your life. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, I get bored really easily. So that's why I have a hard time staying in one, in anything, staying in one location, staying in one, like it was quite difficult sometimes for me, even with, you know, my kids, because you have to follow sometimes a little bit of a routine, right? And routine, I'm just really not good with it.
I don't really like the routine either. Like sometimes it's nice, sometimes I'm like, okay, but sometimes you gotta like go with the flow and feel like the energy of the day.
Yeah, exactly. So
but yeah, I guess when you have young children, you also have to be like, okay, you wake up at 7 a.m. today.
Yeah.
And you do this.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to. It's just the society makes you think like your kids have to do this and your kids have to do this and this and that. And I'm like, really? Like, I don't know.
I thought it was good. I thought it was important for kids to have that, because the way that my sister told me was that like they just don't know how to, like, it's not a very common sense for them right now to do that. You have to show them a habit so that they build the habit, because like doing that day like by day and having it very structured is a habit. Yeah, and it takes time to do that. So for like a kid, you learn how to get into that from watching your parents and stuff like that, and from getting your parents to do it for you.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But then, yeah. Then I feel like for the most part, but then I feel like you also have to like let them, like, you know what I mean? Because not every day is not going to be the same day.
No, it's not.
That's like hard.
And it's also letting them be creative, right? So that they can grow from their own ideas and stuff too. So my way will be a certain way, and it doesn't mean that there's not a better way out there. So it's the fact of helping them to find that better way. Yeah. So anyways, for that, it's for me, routine is really difficult. I do get like kind of depressed sometimes, so I know when I'm going
like a routine.
If I'm going in that direction, that's why for even work or anything, it has to, like where we were working before, you know, there was always something different like during the day, so it was good. But like desk work or anything that I just can't I can't do that. So but anyways, going back to the our topic, because we're going off topic.
I know.
That's my fault, sir. So yeah, I don't know, have you had anybody who kind of that you know of that passed away, like somebody that was close to you? Or
I guess I also did have my Opa as well. I think he was, I mean, I did have a grandfather before that, but I didn't know him. I only knew him for about like 2 years before he passed away.
Okay.
So he was pretty much like a bit of a stranger. It's kind of like they like tell you that you have to, and you're just like, I don't know him. And like there's like, oh, you have to like be so sad. I'm like, I don't really feel like I know him though.
Yeah.
But no, when my Opa passed away, that was a bit of a harder time. It definitely opened up my my perspective on life and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a very definitely very, very odd, but it just made me reflect a lot more on his life. Because he had a pretty crazy life, to be honest. And I think the way that he passed away was actually pretty good. For some reason, I feel like his soul chose. He was like, "Okay, yeah, this is the moment,"
Okay.
and then he like left and everything like that. Because the way that he had left, like it seemed way too it seemed way too perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That it was kind of crazy, and the whole reason why was because he got diagnosed with dementia,
Okay.
and he had it for a little bit, but then after a while of him having it, before it got like really bad, my like Oma was taking care of him and stuff, and they went to church one day, and it was his like favorite part of church, where you walk down the aisle of it with like the candle to go and like light it and stuff like that. And there's this gentleman, he was going down to go and light it. And while that was happening, one of his favorite songs was playing, which I guess was like the song that he used to get the church to play while he walked down and everything. Because like, you know, it's his favorite song. And during that, he had a stroke and he just passed away right there in his seat.
Wow.
And I was just like, that seemed like it was like prepared in a sense. So yeah, so when I think about that moment there, even though it's like sad and to death, it actually gives me a lot of peace, because I'm like, there's a rhyme and a reason for everything. And it kind of is like a little bit it helps a little bit to know that our souls chose when we want to go and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That nothing's like taken away from us or anything like that. It's just like moved on. But yeah, he was definitely like the same thing. Like the thing that I had a hard time with is because he lived so far away that I would only see him on like the weekends or stuff like that. And like my Oma and Opa always like lived 2 hours away. And so I remembered I had that really like big reflection, because like the funeral had happened and everything like that, and life went back the way it was. And like a couple months later, in my head, I was like, oh, like I have this weekend free. I should go and see my Oma and Opa. And I was getting ready to like pack my bag. And in my head, I had this idea that he was like still there and I was going to go and see him. And it was in that time when I was like gonna be like getting my car that I had that like realization. I was like, oh. And then that's like when it hits. And that was my biggest that was my biggest time when I kind of realized I was like, oh shoot. So yeah. So I guess grief kind of happens with everybody differently and stuff. Sometimes it takes longer, sometimes it takes less, but it's that realization of what like an ending is. Because again, like you don't understand it because like the day goes by, everything seems fine, everything seems normal still. So in that perspective in your head, you're like, just gonna do it.
Yeah. No, for
So
sure.
yeah, that was like the very weird thing. But I would say that I definitely do think I had a different experience of it, because after that is when I started like my mediumship and stuff.
Okay.
So that was actually really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so cute. He's like adorable as he was when he was like alive. Like he's just like and it was crazy too, because every time we have like Christmas dinner, Easter dinner, or Thanksgiving, it happens like every time. And he would come around the table, and suddenly I would feel him pass behind me, and that's when I knew, oh, he was here. And I could feel him always circling the table. And the reason why I knew that it was him was because, and this was super crazy, was because one time my mom was sitting down, and it hadn't even been like a year since he passed away, and I think it was Thanksgiving or something. And I remember she got super emotional and she like left the table, obviously, because it's sad, because it's our first Thanksgiving without him, or no, or like our first Christmas or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was the time when I was like feeling him and kind of watching him going to my mom. As soon as he got behind my mom and he stopped, that's when my mom got up and she was like, I just need to take a second. I was like, oh, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So that was really, really nice. So I think my mom hearing those type of things really helps. But that's having that mediumship too and stuff, it definitely gives you a different perspective on life. And the fact that they're still there and they still do affect you and stuff.
Yeah, they hang around for a little while, I
They
think.
do. Yeah.
Depending on each one there, for sure.
He's funny too. Sometimes he'll like do little jokes or something like that. I remember one time I was like sitting at my kitchen table, and I had like just started dating my boyfriend, and I remember he like came up and I was like, oh, like what do you have to say? And I remember I just like closed my eyes and I let the images come through, and I just like started laughing so hard because I could tell that like he was like teasing me a little bit, and I was like, okay, so he does know.
Cute.
So yeah, it was really funny, but yeah,
Nice.
I don't know. That's my perspective on it. What's yours?
Well, yeah, I guess me too is the same. The first person that passed away that was really close to me was my grandfather too.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was the only maybe difference, like with yours, is the sense that so we knew that he was sick, and myself, I was living here in Alberta, so I knew he didn't have too much longer to live, so we went down. So the first hard part thing was, I was super grateful that I saw him that one last time. Though it was really, really difficult when we were like leaving and saying goodbye, because we knew it was like the last time we were going to say goodbye to each other. So as much as it was really nice, like I said, seeing him, it was really it was devastating all at the same time. Like even now, just thinking about it, and I remember because he was like, why are you crying, even though he knew the answer. It's like, you don't have to cry or whatever. And I was like, oh my God. So it was super, and we were really close because I mean they lived like not even 2 minutes from my house when we were kids and stuff.
Aww.
So for me, that was the opposite. It's like we saw them almost every day.
Yeah.
And yeah, anyway, so that was already difficult. And then when he did leave, like I was telling you before, it was I was sitting in my backyard and I was watching the sunset, and it literally was the nicest. Like I should even have the pictures and post it up, but it was the nicest sunset I had ever seen ever. Just the colors were amazing, the clouds, the way they were, it was really amazing. So it really stuck to me on that part. But the biggest thing that stuck to me was the fact that the day didn't stop. When you're grieving, you feel like everything should halt.
Yeah.
And nope, nothing halts. Like the day just continues going by, and it was already like the next day, and I was like, holy shit, it was really weird.
Yeah.
A weird sensation on that part, like you just want everything to just stop, and yeah, it really doesn't. So, and for the grieving part, I guess it was always kind of bit by bit, right? For me, it was it's not like I grieved it all in one shot. It was just moments, and I still do now, of course, obviously much less than what I used to, because I worked on it, I guess, so much. Yeah, and then afterwards, 2 years later, my grandma had passed away too. So it was, and the same thing. I went to go see her. I saw her the last time. I knew it was the last time we were going to see each other. So that was really, really, really difficult. Again, like a part of me was super grateful I got to see both of them, before they left. But it's super heartbreaking while you're leaving and you're going in the plane, and you know that they're not going to be there the next time, right? It's yeah. So that was pretty hard. Feeling. It is a weird feeling, yeah, no, for sure. And again, I guess the same thing. Like I with that, it really helped me to not harbor things as much as I used to. Like before, I used to always hold everything inside, and they helped me out a lot actually for not holding on to it and just doing it, bit by bit, the way that my body needed to do it. Again, it doesn't mean that now, I'm completely over it. Of course not. Like I still feel it, from time to time, and
sometimes it hits you.
It hits you, yeah, for sure, yeah. So
that's like, that's one thing that's kind of like hard about grief, is like it's every like emotion, like, and it's gonna just get easier with time, but you gotta let it pass you. But it'll hit you in the most like oddest of times ever. Like I can walk through my grandma's house and be like, or my Oma's house and be like, fine. And then as soon as I leave, I'm like, oh frick. Yeah. It gets sad, but yeah.
It does.
Yeah. Luckily my own is still around and stuff, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Mm.
Both my grandmas, but yeah.
Both your grandmas? Yeah.
Both my grandmas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're still here.
Yeah.
They're in their little tiny apartments now,
Okay.
taking care of their little plants and doing their little things.
Okay.
I think they're both adorable. I think they're both so sweet.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, it's good to have them around, and make sure to go see them as much as you possibly can, right?
Well, yeah, it teaches you a lot when you go through your first set of grief too, because it gives you a lot more appreciation for that time, and then to actually that's one thing I think I definitely did learn, because he did pass suddenly, with we didn't think it was gonna happen, no warning at all.
No.
So because of that, definitely take the time, now more.
And the other thing too, you just reminded me, is how they so it's really interesting how other people, their perspective on things. So for my kids, I tell them I love them every day.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just pass by down the stairs, we just say we love each other. For other people, it's an overboard. And I totally get it. I understand why, because for them, they're saying, okay, well, you're babying them too much type thing by saying that all the time and this and that. But in my mind, I understand that the reason why I do that is because I know that I may go out the door and I'm not coming back. And I don't want to have that regret that I've never really, emotionally showed that. But for others, they say, oh my God, you guys say it all the time and blah, blah, blah. And I'm I don't even explain myself, because I'm not going to explain myself to everybody. But
yeah, no.
That's the other thing, is not taking everything, your life, for granted, because it doesn't mean that you're going to be there within the hour or whatever. So, right. Or maybe even whoever it is that's around you, you don't know if they're going to be there.
No.
So it's not only for myself, but it's also for everybody else around. So
yeah, I think that's really important to do that habit too, because I don't see anything wrong with it, because it's love, it's not babying, it's love, you know what I mean?
I know, but if you're for this particular person that I'm talking about, they didn't have a lot of love when they were younger, in their past. So that's why I understand why they're saying that. Yeah. I'm not going to explain myself and say this is the reason why I do it. It's just, it is what it is, and it's fine. They see it in that perspective. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Though in mine, it has nothing to do with the fact of babying. It's more the fact that I may not be here type thing. Yeah. And you were saying it before too. And this is within me, I think, since I was a kid. When people say, oh, when I retire, I'll do this. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, who knows if you're going to even live to 65? What do you know?
Right?
Just do it now. Or if you can, do it, as quickly as you can. I don't know. That just really, I can't believe people say that, I guess, in so many ways. It's
I've never understood that either, of having to wait until that age. And that actually really scared me when I first graduated. And I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't want to go to school or anything and waste my money on that. Well, not that it's a waste. To me at the time, in my head, I was like, it's a waste. Yeah. But but I would, you get to travel and stuff like that. And it's something that's really important. You shouldn't wait your entire life. And I feel like that's why it's really important too, talking about death and everything like that. And the fact that if you find yourself getting very scared, talking about this and one day dying and things you have to do in your life and preparing for it, it's really good for you to get a good sense of self and who you are and what you like to do and what you don't like and what's important to you in your life. Because when you have that sense around it all, you can start taking small steps and actions and little forms of habits to get to that point. Because if it's something that you realize, oh shoot, this is really important for me, and I have been throwing it away, you're not doing yourself any justice or that thing either. You need to start doing it now. So I feel like people get scared because they don't understand what's on their not list of priorities, but what's important to them and what makes sense to do right now because of that. So,
and it's also well, I mean, when you're a kid, you think this stuff, but when I'm thinking, okay, 65, when you're a kid, it's like so far away. And 3/4 of the time, we're not even healthy at that stage.
No,
right?
you
So
can't
it's like, who
travel.
wants to go traveling when you're 65? It doesn't mean that you
Mhm.
can't. And I'm not saying that everybody falls sick or anything of the sort. It's just that who knows what would happen to me at that stage, right? I even had that when I was a kid. I was like, yeah, but I could be sick. I could be, whatever. Like something may have happened that I'm not able to travel, do this, do that. So yeah, I agree with.
Yeah. And I think the other like way that I kind of like thought about it was the fact that I thought it was like so much cooler to maybe like to die like riding a motorcycle and somewhere in like Greeks or something like that than to like die from like, I don't know, like cancer at 65. You know what I mean? I was just like, I thought about that and I was like, you know what? The fact that it does sound cooler, but it's also like that would be a very good reflection on how I lived my life and the way that I died. And that's like kind of opened my mind too, because I was just like, you know what? If I were to have my death be like a reflection of my life, I would want to, start living it very well and have it something that was very like not have it be in a bad way, but like for people to be like, oh, that makes sense. Like that was very much her characteristic. That was very much like who she was. You know what I mean?
No,
so yeah, that was like my take on it too at that age as well. And I feel like that does help with like a lot of anxiety too and everything like that. Because I did have a lot of anxiety at that time about like, oh my God, what if I do this and then I die? You know what I mean? Like taking it to the most extreme.
Yes.
Realizing that it's not that bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, for sure. And kind of brings forth to the next step, I guess, too, is the question that you were asking, if I died tomorrow, is everything in line afterwards? Like, obviously, when you die, you don't bring anything with you on the other side of things, but you're leaving behind a lot of stuff. So the question is, what you're leaving behind, is it something that either one brought a lot of harm to people or opposite, obviously, all your, material things, like, is everything taken care of, like, afterwards when you pass away? So that's quite an important thing to kind of work with, and not view death as being, I know we have this ideology of, staying young and kind of trying to cheat death in so many ways.
Yeah.
And it's weird because for me, it's the opposite. It's like, oh, okay, so next stage for me, like I'm not saying I can't wait to die, but I can't wait to, to see that other side of things again.
Right?
So
see how silly you are. Such a silly goose. Well, that's so true. Yeah. I don't understand why people are like so afraid of it. I know when it's like right in front of your face, like maybe like when you've had like life-threatening like moments or something, but like but yeah, in the long run,
I think that's maybe what helped me a lot too, is it wasn't necessarily a life-threatening moment for myself. It was when I was having that outer body type of experience. So I was just doing the meditation, I did the yoga, and then I was lying down for like 40 minutes, I think. And then all of a sudden, my eyes were closed, but I could see the room. So I knew something was not like it was.
Like, what's going on?
What's going on? So I got up, but only half of my body kind of got up, and the other half was still inside my body, I guess.
Oh, wow.
But I remember that moment, and I had my daughter at the time. She was a baby. So this was years back again. Anyways, I remember distinctly, I said, okay, like nothing mattered. So money didn't matter. I know this is going to sound awful, but my family, I didn't have the worries or anything of that sort. Not that it didn't matter. I didn't have those fears or anything anymore. I knew that everything was going to be okay if I wasn't
like, it
there.
wasn't like those little like ego ways of thinking about things that were getting in the way. That's nice.
And I think that's maybe why
I'm getting like sugars right now. I don't even know why. Keep talking.
No, yeah, I think that's the reason why it helped me to kind of overcome that fear of death. That was my first one, and then The other thing was with the practice, the universal energy, at one point you start learning how to slow down your heart rate when you're doing your meditations to a point where you go to the point where you don't breathe anymore. But in order to reach that point, you have to have no fear of death. That's the only way that you can reach to that level. And I remember I had done it once. It took like 4 or 5 times, trying it and practicing and stuff. And I had to the point where I didn't have to breathe. Though what happened was that my cells started breathing, which is really, really a weird way of explaining it because I don't know how else I can explain this. But it was almost like it was breathing for me. So I just stayed in that state for, I don't know, maybe it was a minute or 2. But then I started getting excited. I was like too excited, and then it just popped me out of it, right? When you get excited, or if you don't stay in that neutral zone, you just get popped out.
Yeah.
But that was pretty fascinating, and I understood that. Okay, I really did surpass that threshold of fear of death type thing, because it's the only way to do it in order to get there. And then it's understanding that you actually do have the control of when you want to leave. That's why you see all these gurus and I don't know, from India or Asia or and they decide to leave whenever they want, right? So it's not like a magical thing. It's just like everything else. You have to practice at it, and then you can reach or attain that certain level type thing. So yeah, it's pretty fascinating for me on that part.
That's so cool.
Which guy was it that you were talking about?
The one who gave that whole speech on stage, and he was like, "Okay, I gotta go now." And
Yogananda.
Yeah. And he has those eyes. You're just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. Exactly. It's exactly that. And though when he left, it would look like a heart attack, right?
Yeah.
Though it had nothing to do with that. It was him who was in control of the state of leaving whenever he wanted. So maybe, actually, now it's a heart attack that you said your grandfather had the stroke.
Yeah.
So it's very similar. When you decide you want to go, man, you go.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So that's that thing too. Like it just seemed like it was what did somebody say?
It's my aunt. Yeah.
We'd like to see the picture of the sunset. Aww.
So it's her parents who passed away, my grandparents.
Yeah.
So yeah, we remember the times when we were saying goodbye to everybody. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason in my mind when you were talking about sunset, I had like the picture of a very like orangey yellow, like cloud, like just like in your face, like
it was.
Yeah.
No, it was really quite beautiful.
Which is kind of nice because that's like the color of joy.
Yeah, that's true. All of those colors. Yeah, it was just a mishmash of like pink, yellow, orange, really orange too, quite orange actually. Yeah. Anyways, it was an awesome sunset. So, so yeah, those were my experiences actually. Yeah, when I was saying about overcoming death and stuff. I don't know with Reiki and stuff. You don't learn. I don't know if you learn anything about that.
I don't think we really did.
No. You don't talk about those things. Yeah.
I mean, she told me a little bit about like when a spirit comes to you when they're here on this earth and they like have way too much like heavy
attachment
and energy on them and stuff like that. That's to help clear it and then go. Because that's one thing that she did inform me about. Because once you learn how to do Reiki and to direct that energy and stuff like that, you just become like a little light bulb in this like in that world, you know what I mean? So people, they very much gravitate to you because they know that you can do it, even if they come to you which what you think is like a malicious intent or something like that.
Yeah,
it's really just them bothering you so that you can help them. So yeah, that's one thing that she did definitely tell me about, and then that would start happening. I mean, it did start happening, and it's really easy now. You don't have to. You can either just like, no, not right now, or you can do it right then and there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really cool. I've had some, because I don't like to deal with that malicious intent. I'm always like, no. I remember one time I met this guy. Oh, I was camping with my friends out. It was May long weekend, and we were camping out by like the Red Deer River or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remembered that there was this guy that very much, it was so weird. I woke up before everybody else, and I was in my car, and I was sleeping in my car, or was it September long? Anyways, I was sleeping in my car, and I woke up, and I could feel this guy like walking around the whole area. And I remembered he came like close to my car, and I remember I like popped my head up because I was like, is there somebody actually like, are they gonna steal like our stuff or something like that? Like that's what I thought. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like who is this guy like walking around? And I remember I got my head up to go and to look around, and it was so weird. It was because I didn't actually see it in like the physical. It's like he like flashed me in my head. And I remember it was like this First Nation fellow, and I remember he had like a he had the thing right here. He had one feather poke, which I don't know what that means, but he had one feather poking up, and then he had like a red band around his head, but he had makeup on his eyes and everything. And what he showed me in his face was that he knew that I was awake, and I was looking at him, and I remember in like my mind's eye, he just kind of went, and I could see like the red, these like red circles that he painted around his face. And like, it was kind of like he was just kind of being like, maybe like kind of scaring me off a little bit, maybe being like, who are you?
Okay.
I remember it kind of like freaked me out. I remember I just kind of like went back to bed, and I was like, no. And he ended up following me back to my house and stuff like that. And I didn't know what he wanted, just kind of let him hang around. But if I told him, I can't do it right now, he would just leave. I remember he came up to me one time, and he kind of did the same thing when I was washing my car. And then when I was like doing some work on my computer, and I finally realized he was just waiting for like a boring moment that was happening so that you could help release that energy and help him, do that. So that was really cool, to be honest. That was like the coolest experience I've ever had with that.
Yeah, well, the same even with the course that I had taken, the universal energy. So it's exactly that. It's not talking about them. It's not the fact that they're malevolent or whatever. It's just the fact that they're hanging around because they're just waiting for your help. And even we learn through certain parts of our body. So if you feel, sometimes when you feel pinching on your leg or your foot or something like that. So depending where they pinch on the body, they basically indicate what level that they're at. So if they're, pinching at the foot, the leg, it's just their vibration is quite a bit lower type thing. So they're still learning quite a bit at that stage. And they need your help because they see your light, and then they're coming towards you and seeing if you can help them. At the stage, we don't really tell them to go away, but we do indicate, we say, either follow the path of light or go back into reincarnation. So it's like either learn from this path or come back here, basically, if you want to continue learning. So we try not to push them away. It's more the fact of trying to guide them in different directions, right? Whatever direction that they choose in the end, because again, it's always about choice.
Yeah.
So, and then if you have like pinches, or let's say in the mid body section or whatnot, then it's more the hierarchy, I guess you can say, goes up higher, and
like the root chakra to the crown chakra.
And then you're not understanding that they're trying to help you instead of you trying to help them when it's higher up and stuff. So I know with all these movies and wonderful things with the devils and this and that.
See, that's like, I've been watching a lot of scary movies like lately, and it's so funny because I'm watching this, and then like it's like kind of like rewatching a lot of them that I watched when I was younger too. And like they really do, like they're very close to the truth, but they just twist it in such ways to make you like so scared. And it's really just how you think they're going to present themselves to you.
It's keeping your vibration as low as possible.
Right? Yeah. So it's crazy. Also, when I say like go away from them, I'm typically like, if I send them up there, that's the same thing I do. I say like either go there, you're gonna be met with like love and like understanding and everything, or it's like you can reincarnate. When I tell them to go away, it's really like I can't do this right now.
I understand. No,
because sometimes it's like intense, especially when it first starts too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for
But
sure.
oh my gosh, I was gonna ask you something too. I keep on blanking on so many things today. My mind has to calm down a little.
Going from one place to the other.
Yeah. But same thing with you thinking that it you went straight to you thinking of something exterior attacking yourself too. That's also maybe like one of like the fear things too as well. Because you're in that sense too, especially because you probably have experienced that in the past as well, of things kind of coming up to you in that sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, after a while, you kind of,
Yeah.
I don't want to say you get used to it there, but it's just, it's a little more,
yeah.
It's never really getting used to it, actually.
Yeah.
But I do have here, I have Kimberly Buckler. She goes, Jade is right. We can help people transmute their fears before they cross over. Our ego and fears can hold us back. And to live our lives to the fullest and enjoy each moment. Let me just see here. Working with the spirit realm helped me to learn compassion and able to help them transition properly. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah,
this
thank
is
you,
my
Kimberly.
Reiki teacher.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. No, absolutely. So it's, I mean, the Reiki and the universal energy, it's very, it's quite similar on, you know, all those levels. And yeah, compassion obviously is always the, you know, the way to start and the way to go.
Yeah.
And you go from there afterwards, right? It's always about a guidance. It's not about telling people what to do or how to do it and this and that. You have to figure that out on your own type thing in the end. So it's the same thing for them, right? It's not telling them you have to go there, or you should do this, or you should do that.
Yeah.
It's, hey, you got these options, and you know, go for it type thing. Is always
carry on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Choose and carry on.
Yeah.
I had done that actually for this was again way back in the past, so very similar, I think, from what Kimberly, and I think you do house clearings and stuff like that too, or is it mainly?
I did a few of them at one point, just for like people who's like babies weren't sleeping and stuff like that.
Yeah,
the more like calmer ones. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, no, I had a friend of mine like years back, and same thing. It was her house was. It was interesting because sometimes, you know, the lights would go on or off, or the TV would go on and off, and
yeah.
And then she asked for my help, and I didn't even like have to go at the house. It was just kind of doing the channeling and stuff. And I got the point, and I started laughing, not because it was funny. It was just like the trickery that you were talking about. It was kids. It was like two kids, the brother and sister type thing. And it was kind of like trying to get their attention, but I can understand their point of view that it was kind of scary. Like, I mean, doing these like freaking flipping of lights and everything else, and that. But then, you know, I did the clearing, and it never happened again after. But it's just it's again because of the movies, they bring in so much of that fear aspect. It wasn't the fact that, you know, that it was malevolent. It was just trying to get our attentions. Yeah. And they died really like not. It wasn't a fire type thing, so it wasn't, you know, the best way to go. So yeah, it was just. You just remind me of that too.
Yeah.
You too, I think you.
I had that one experience too. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I was like in my room, and it was like dark at night, and I went out of my room to like go to the washroom or something, and I looked up the stairs, and up the stairs to the side is like where our living room is. And the TV was on, and I was just like, and I could see the light and everything, and I was like, oh, somebody left the TV on. So I went up the stairs, and as soon as I got there, I turned around the corner, all the lights were off, and the TV was off, and I remember just being like, oh, that's actually really scary. I don't think I like that. So I remember I just I went back into my basement. I just went into my room and I went to bed because I was just like, But were you talking about that? Were you talking like the man in the basement when I was like very little?
No, I remember the one with the TV. Well, yes, you had that too. Yes, no, but I remember with the TV because me too is the same. Another incident, kind of similar, but it wasn't the TV. It was the kitchen. Like they would always open and close the stupid drawers, and like when I was sleeping, and all I hear is the banging of the drawers and stuff going on in my kitchen in my old house. And then again, I was just learning about house clearings and stuff, and this was a pretty big attachment because it was from my ex from so he went to war, right? And when you go to war, you attract a lot of stuff from down there. So anyways, a couple of them, I don't remember how many. I think there were like 6 of them or something like that, apparently at the time, that they were attached to him pretty heavily. And that's where all the noises were coming from. But again, at the time, it was scary. It's like, I'm not going downstairs. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything.
Yeah.
So it took a bit of time, though it stopped. I've never heard of it again afterwards. Again, it's the same thing. It's because of TV and so much crap in my head at the time. Now it's not as bad anymore. But not that I do any clearings of any sort, other than my own space there. It's just it's not as scary. So again, it's almost completely going from one to another, getting that fear out of your system of death and all that, and just working with the other side of things, since they're around here, right? So just work with them and not against them.
Yeah. And it's kind of like the same thing, that they're probably just as scared of you as you are of them. Like, I know that sounds like really weird to say, but it's like,
possibly,
they would probably be a little bit anxious, like those kids on the other side too. Like, you know what I mean? They don't know what they're really doing. They don't understand it.
Yeah.
Same with other people. Like they may have died in like a very like gruesome, not great way, and they're just looking to get out of that emotion, out of that state.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's definitely. When you do that a lot, and you understand and you talk to them a lot more, it becomes a lot more you just get more perspective on it, a little bit more compassion for it, which is cool.
Most definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything else that you want.
I think
you want to bring in.
Oh yeah, I want to say, I guess we already kind of talked about it, but since this last couple times have kind of been about Stoicism, I just wanted to add one of the things that the Stoics say, which is a good just kind of saying that's about death, and it's to think that life has already happened, and whatever the time that there is left is owned by death. And the way that thinking about life being in a way a preparation for death, and for thinking about it that way, it puts us a lot more into perspective, knowing that you have to use that time wisely now and understand what you actually have in your hand. And the fact that it's owned by death is it's not owned by you. You don't get to decide how much time you have. In a way, yes, your soul does, but ego-wise type of thing, unless you're maybe one of those monks that can decide on the spot, you really don't know when your time is up. So it's just kind of taking that pride in that moment right now that you have, and doing it what you need to do. So it puts you more into a perspective, into taking action on the things in life, instead of waiting for death to take that time, for which you were able to do all those things. So it's not meant to put you in a fear-based area. It's just meant for you to have more perspective on it.
Yeah, it's not
That's
about
a
fear.
cool thing.
Quite the opposite.
Yeah, no.
Definitely, yeah.
I was just saying to get off your butt.
To get off your butt, yeah, I guess that's a way of saying it.
Just a little one. But yeah. Alrighty.
So we're gonna do our little weekly thing. Okay. Now I'll do this.
Oh, I feel amazing.
Yeah, now.
Alrighty, Spirit, please protect this reading with love and light. Please protect me and Josee and the collective here. Bring forth what they need to know in the highest form for what's going to be happening in the next week. Yeah, what's going to be going on? What do they need to know? And then one more. Thank you.
Nice.
Oh, I really like this. This is like a lot of like reflection happening and like a lot of insight. Definitely pay attention to your dreams, and what they're trying to show you. There's gonna be kind of little things that are gonna be happening this week that are kind of going to be redirecting you in a way, very gently though. But it's important for you to be open to it and to be open to the deeper meaning to everything that's going to be happening. It's kind of weird. It feels like really like a dream state, like a lot of deja vu, like something's like this has happened before. And I think the universe is really just trying to get you to look at things a lot deeper, but a lot more bigger. It's kind of very matrixy a little bit, like you're kind of getting ungrounded, and kind of getting more into your crown chakra and seeing things at like a higher perspective. And like I feel like when people think of like when you think of somebody saying like higher perspective, you think of being like, oh, seeing things with more love and compassion. And that is true, but seeing it for a lot more depth. Same thing is that when you go up, you also go down as well. 11 here as well. I feel like things can look a little bit fuzzy in your life right now, or things maybe contradicting themselves, and you have maybe having like a hard time understanding what the universe is trying to direct you to do. Look between the lines, because things are working out as it's supposed to be, and there's gonna be like a spark in the future that are really gonna make everything fall into place. But this time is really for you just to experience it and read between the lines of what the universe is trying to get you to do right now. Just have trust and know that everything's gonna work out. And just follow your intuition and what you would think would be best to do in these situations here, while also looking to the deeper meaning. That's the important thing. I think this is like getting ready for you to do a huge like flip in your life. If you've been waiting for something to quickly change, or like a drastic change, or waiting for like a turn of events, I think that's definitely going to really happen. It is going to take some of like your own hard work, a little bit of discipline, a little bit of understanding of where you want to go. But there's like this, it's kind of like two opposites right here. And I feel like you're mostly starting like on that side, and then you're going into this side right here, which means kind of like a switch in your life. Things are going to stay very close to the same, but the energy surrounding it is going to be very, very different. Yeah, it's really, really cool. And I think actually, I don't know if I would say that things are going to be the same. Like, I feel like this ball is like you. This looks like a black hole to me. You know when like those cameras get really close to the black hole and they see everything like stretch out?
Yes.
That's what it looks like. It looks like you're going into a wormhole. And I feel like this is why I have such hard like time explaining it, because like you're going into like a new dimension where like you're the same but you're actually not, but like everything's slightly very different. These cards really make me think about like the Matrix and taking control over it and switching things up. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think you pretty much pinned it down. I'm just going to show you. So the
Yeah.
first card is this one here. They don't have names on there. They just have the numbers. Well, actually, they do have names. I'll read it out afterwards because the read up is quite short.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This one's number 2. So, yeah, this one kind of reminds me more of like a parallel thing, right? There's just like a lot going on, and it may feel sometimes kind of like overwhelming. This is the second card. Overwhelming. It's almost like a lot of stuff going through the mind, a lot of downloading too at the same time, I guess. From, it doesn't matter, from the universe, from God, whatever it is that you believe in. There's just, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on for sure this week in the mind. This last one, though, the only thing I would say is it's almost like trying to show you the balance between the joy in your heart, I guess you can say. The joy is just because of the yellow, and the green it's mainly heart-based and stuff. And just remember to stay in that state while all of this is happening this week. because this can also mean not necessarily what's going on within you, but what's going on around you too. So if you're in certain places that you're not particularly, your environment is not the best, basically. Just remember to keep that joy and balance within yourself. If you need to get out, go out. If you need to meditate, go meditate, so keep that balance this week, because it's going to be a bit of an overload, from what I see anyways.
I mean, like, that does make sense, because we just had the Leo full moon, which was like the last winter moon or something, or like the last snow moon
Okay.
for the year.
Yeah.
And like, well, I guess not for a year, but that's like, it's really cool, because like the Leo, like, it's like a fiery energy, like it gets it moving really fast.
Okay.
And I think this one was all about releasing anything that's getting in the way of you moving forward.
Okay.
So the fact that it's happening so fast with such fiery energy, and it's clearing things out, that's probably why it feels so sudden and so like transcendy. Yeah.
Interesting. So the first card here is called Encoded. And here it says, where others see nothing, you see the deeper meaning or message hidden within. Your guides are working to communicate with you as your intuition and inner knowing expands. Be mindful of all that you are experiencing in each moment. Be aware of animal messages or messengers, cloud formations, colors, conversations of others, and anything else that catches your attention. You are taking the next step up in awareness and connection to the unseen worlds.
I feel like I had that pretty down,
Yeah,
to be
yeah, you
honest.
did.
I was like really surprised when you started reading that. Wow, that's crazy.
And the second one here, which actually, I kind of, anyways, it says in flow. This is expression in full flow. Let yourself be heard. Let yourself shine. Time to take center stage. This is all about feeling the universal flow of energy, joy, creativity, and communication. Sing, dance, let yourself be seen in all your glory. Set your creative inner being free and express all those things inside you that you would normally hide from the world. Yeah, so it's a lot of downloading at that point.
Look at this too. When you said flow, I was like trying to be like, oh, how does that look like flow? And then I turned it, I was like, oh my God, that looks like
Oh, wow.
water. And like those are like little.
Yeah, almost looks like the sun up top there, like reflecting. Yeah, you're right.
Like if you look at it that way.
Yeah,
if they can see that. That's like so crazy.
And the last one, this one here, the duality, it's card number 10. It says work. This card relates to work. It describes working at what you are really here to do. It is about combining all of your knowledge and gifts on both the physical and spiritual plane and utilizing both as a means of earning a living. If you're not sure what it is you are really here to do, this card is asking you to take action and the rest to follow. The two worlds have come into alignment and the time has come. This card can also show you that you are on the right path. Everything is in proper balance. Yeah. So it's bringing that, that joy and that love type thing of what it is that you want to do. And
that's really good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You're like getting into flow, into your creative energy, into that state. But then beforehand, you're really looking at like the deeper meaning and everything, doing some reflection. And it's all for the purpose of finding that balance in your life so that you can move forward in your career or whatever work you want to do.
Yeah.
Wow. That's really, really cool.
Yeah, this week is a lot of reflections and knowing exactly what it is that you want to basically do.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be for work, but it's just anything for yourself. Either could be with health. So yeah, anyways, that was pretty cool. That was a very pretty good week. Pretty awesome week ahead. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thanks for your knowledge as usual. So thank you everyone again for being here. We always have an awesome time. So hopefully you enjoyed this session with us. Again, always leave us a comment and let us know if there's anything in specific that you guys would like to talk about. We're always like trying to find little subjects here and there. And so anything to kind of help you, move forward, yourself, your friends, anybody. And we'll continue doing the shows like this on a weekly basis. Yeah. All right, guys. Okay. Thank you so much. And I think that was it.
Any more questions?
No questions. It was just, my aunt was saying, as long as you can remember your dreams. Yeah. So actually to remember your dreams, the best way is when you do wake up like in the middle of the night, just write it down kind of quickly, as much as you can about your dreams, even if they don't make sense to you. Just start doing it, and then afterwards, after a couple days, you won't even have to do that anymore because you're just going to remember them. You're just being more and more conscious about it.
Yeah.
So there's no need to have to wake up and write it down. You'll remember everything as time goes. So sometimes dreams can be a little bit tricky to understand what they mean. Though again, it's the same thing. It's just kind of like asking also at the same time. Make sure to make it as clear as possible, so that you know exactly what it is that the message that you're trying to convey to yourself.
Yeah. That's also like you're like don't stress if you forget some of your dream.
Yeah.
Like those parts that you remember are the parts that are important.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just got to make sense out of those things.
Yeah.
You can also, this is one thing that I was like told too, is that like if I ever like had like a hard time understanding my dream, is that when you wake up you write it down and then you ask your higher self to help you understand it throughout your day. And so then throughout your day, there would be like different like symbolisms that would happen. I would even have people have talk about things that are very similar to the dream I would have, and I would listen to them. And just like those little things. And sometimes I would like remember something out of the blue about part of my dream. But yeah, like the information's always there for you. You just kind of have to ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely. Maybe that'd be a subject actually to talk about.
Maybe, actually, I like love dream word. That's like the cool. Oh my gosh, that stuff is so cool.
Yeah, and there's quite a few dreams that I've had that reflect to what's happening now, type thing in my life. So it'd be really, that'd be something pretty cool to talk about. Yeah. So thank you, Mary, for that. So yeah, all right. Well, thank you again for being here. Thanks for just joining us like every week. This is really amazing. So we will definitely talk with you guys next week. Yeah. Oh, again, one last thing. Last week, I was telling everybody that you had a little emergency, but everybody was like, "Oh, is she okay?" And I was thinking about
my sister thought she was gonna give birth, and then she didn't. I know, they really played her there. She was like so ready, and she went to the hospital, and even the nurses thought that it was about to happen, and then they're like, "Nope." Just testing to see if you're ready. Yeah. So yeah, but actually, funny thing, she's gonna be having her twin girls today. So it's so exciting. Oh my gosh! Okay. I know, either today or tomorrow, but yeah, she's gonna be having them. So
yeah,
I
we'll
know.
Keep you informed.
It was a good emergency.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah,
awesome. All right, guys. Now we're gonna let you go.
No, I explained that.
Thanks again. Yeah, thanks again for being here. And we'll be here next week. So, all right. Take care. Okay. Love you.
Bye. That's actually crazy that we decided for today to talk about death, because this is like also the day where like